Now we are live here in New York City. Former Mayor Rudy Giuliani joins us. Rudy, why do you think the city sat on that video for over a year before it was released?
Totally perplexing. And then to release it without a full explanation. Just kind of throw it out there.
See what happens.
Over a year. It doesn't take a year to investigate that.
No, it sure doesn't.
I was a prosecutor for more of my life than anything else. That's a 3-month case, at best, 4-month case. I don't know why they were holding back. Then I don't know why they don't release.
Do Chicago politics play into that? I mean, it's been a Democratic stronghold for decades.
Well, you know, I guess. Here's what troubles me more. Maybe this should raise the following question. Why is it that Chicago, which has a population of about 3 million, has 3 to 3.5 times per capita more murders than New York?
Right.
When we're essentially the same kind of city, and we have gun control laws. So what is it? What's going on? What are they doing wrong? What have the Democratic politicians who overwhelm that city, what have they not done for the people of the city?
What's the answer?
Well, first of all, obviously they haven't done law enforcement correctly. We had a stop and frisk process that I started with Commissioner Bratton, and Mayor Bloomberg carried on with Commissioner Kelly, and we didn't wait for people to go register their guns if they shouldn't have one. We took it from them.
Well, I mean, you realize there's going to be people afraid to even go into certain areas of Chicago, some law enforcement, because of the murder rate and what's happening there, let alone what happened here. Just looking at this case in particular, you got a 17-year-old, they say, with a strange gaze about him, carrying a knife. When he refused to stop, police ordered him to do so. This according to the Fraternal Order of Police. The teen used the knife to puncture the front passenger side of a squad car and damaged his front windshield before leading officers on a foot chase. We saw the end of that foot chase.
But then you do understand they were striking him 16 times. And then
yeah, I mean, that's the end of the foot chase.
Well, first, he committed a crime. Second, the police had a right to stop him. The question is, do you shoot him 16 times, including in the back? That sounds like you're going beyond what you should be doing. Look, if I had to defend him, I could figure out ways to defend him, and if I had to prosecute him, I think that'd be an easier thing to do.
Mr. Mayor, even David Axelrod has come out and questioned why this video, though, was held. On Twitter, he said this: why did it take a year to indict a CBD officer who shot a kid 16 times? Would it have happened today if a judge hadn't ordered the video release? I mean, really pointing fingers there at Rahm Emanuel.
Well, there's something really wrong with the city. There's something really wrong with the city of Chicago. By the way, it happens to be my second favorite city. I love Chicago. I think it's a beautiful city. I love the people of Chicago. But there's a sickness in Chicago when you have 3.5 times, 2.5 times, 3.5 times, 4 times. And this is every year for the last, since I was mayor and Bloomberg was mayor. I don't know about before that. But their murder rate is out of control. It's in comparison to New York and some other American cities.
All right, Mr. Mayor, let's change gears. You know, Francois Hollande came here for a few hours yesterday in order to meet with our president and maybe rally some support. There was word that he was trying to get the president to back up the enactment of Article 5 and get NATO involved to take out ISIS. If the president didn't want to do it, he's not we're going to bring it because it would have been embarrassing. Having said that, one of the things the president brought up, believe it or not, when he segued, was this: climate change.
Next week, I will be joining President Hollande and world leaders in Paris for the Global Climate Conference. What a powerful rebuke to the terrorists it will be when the world stands as one and shows that we will not be deterred from building a better future for our children.
How is that a rebuke to ISIS?
You know, I really feel very stupid. I consider myself somewhat of an expert on law enforcement, terrorism, cybersecurity, security. I never thought of the fact that if we just waged war on global warming, we could defeat ISIS, and that's really going to shake them up. I mean, when we reduce carbon emissions, ISIS is just going to fold. It's just going to stop.
Even Al Gore would say that was inappropriate.
I don't think I've ever heard anything more absurd from a president. I don't, and they're in the presence of a president who has shown leadership.
Well, and we have heard this president say that global warming is the top worry of the planet.
But to say that this is like going to be a real shock to the terrorists, obviously he doesn't understand terrorism. He doesn't understand terrorists. He doesn't understand what motivates them. They don't care what we do about global warming. What they are interested in is the jihad. taking over, interested in taking away your rights in particular as a woman, our rights to property, my ability to worship God and yours the way that's what it's about. Not about whether the globe is going to get warmer or colder. The president is that statement is so out of touch with reality that there's a serious question as to what's going on. What's going on in his mind?
If the terrorists want to get under the president's skin, they should litter.
It almost seems like it seems like a disordered thinking.
All the countries get together and they're going to reduce carbon, and the ISIS is going to fold their tents?
I want to bring up another topic before we go. You believe, like Donald Trump believes to a degree, he's a little more aggressive about it, we should be monitoring mosques.
I was the first one, I believe, to put police officers in mosques in order to monitor them, and here's why I did it.
But not in full uniform, blending.
No, undercover. And I did it because the attack in 1993, before I was mayor, was organized in a mosque in Union City, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Had we had undercover agents in that mosque at the time, and there's no reason we should have known about it, I'm not blaming anyone, but if we had, that never would have taken place.
These are mosques that are open to the public, and the police officers were just undercover.
When I would get attacked for it, I would say there is no priest, there is no rabbi, there is no minister in this city that wouldn't welcome a New York City police officer sitting there in uniform or undercover or in any way. And if there's any imam that does, why? Yeah. Why? Right. I go to mosque. I listen to sermons by imams. Perfectly fine. Yeah. And sometimes it is in the imam. The imam can be fine. We had situations where the imam was fine, but you get a group, and you want to get in with that group, and you want to find out what they're talking about.
Exactly.
And you look at the history of some of these terrorists, you'll see a lot of it was organized in discussions at the mosque.
And we just don't do that anymore. Mr. Mayor, have a wonderful Thanksgiving tomorrow with your family.
And thanks for wearing the vest for me.
Happy Thanksgiving. I heard you had one. I went back home and I got mine.
We're both invested.
Happy Thanksgiving. I thought I was the inspiration for your book.
What a shame.
Next one.
I apologize.
Enjoy
your time. Mr. Mayor, thanks
Rudy
so much.
Giuliani's Secret Six coming up next week.
All right, meanwhile.